UNDP Bangladesh. This consultation provides an excellent opportunity to set the vision and direction of the blended education and its accelerator. It will launch an active phase of the initiative as we build on effort to achieve the vision of a smart Bangladesh by 2041. Before we proceed with the program, I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation to the chief guest, special guests, co-chairs, esteemed panelists, and eminent participants for making the time to be here today. Your presence and expertise are critical to the success of this workshop. With the kind consent of the Honorable Education Minister, Dr. Dipu Moni MP, as the chief guest, and Honorable ICT State Minister, Mr. Junaid Ahmed Palok MP, and Honorable Deputy Minister, Mohibul Hassan Chowdhury MP, as the special guests, let us begin this exciting journey together. Now, we are moving towards the main session where we will have welcome remarks, 2 keynote presentations, a panel session, and our co-chairs of the accelerator will deliver their remarks with insights and directions for the future endeavors. We will hear from the experts around the world, and we will also have the chance to share our ideas and experience. To begin this event, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Suleiman Khan, Honorable Secretary, Secondary and Higher Education Division, and the Member Secretary of the National Task Force for Blended Education Skills to deliver his welcome remarks. Honorable Secretary, sir. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Chief Guest, co-chairs, colleagues, representatives from development partners and NGOs, delegations from World Economic Forum, eminent educators, and esteemed other guests, Assalamu alaikum. It's my pleasure to stand here to welcome you all formally. Respected guests, you know, nowadays, the education ecosystem has been enduring rapid changes in terms of using technologies and calls for a skill-based education system for meeting local and global needs. The world is getting increasingly connected, and the skills required for success for nation are shifting. On this backdrop, to keep pace with a complex and uncertain future, the approach to education must be transformed. So, we cannot ignore the call of time, the age we live in. And we are in transformation in the teaching learning practices in our country. Blended education, we know, is a mix of physical and online education, and it is a tool in education transformation. We are lucky here. In recent years, Bangladesh has observed transformation in teaching learning practices where teacher-led digital contents are being used in newly established multimedia classrooms along with other learning resources. The hope is that an equitable blended education framework and a master plan already are in our hand, and it is expected that to generate potential solutions for students, teachers, and policymakers to ensure a wide range of choices and opportunity for our students to continue their learning wherever they are just in time. Respected guests, our government is committed to ensure education for all as per the constitutional provision of Article 17. The Blended Education Master Plan, as we have, links to some important guiding documents such as our National Education Policy 2010, our Perspective Plan 2041, SDG 4, and the 8th five-year plan to attain that provisions. However, the work of developing a blended education ecosystem cannot be achieved by the government alone. Partnership and collaboration is needed here. The Blended Education Accelerator serves to connect us together so that we can innovate and scale up the solutions relevant to developing source and education ecosystem. As you know, there will be two presentations to happen in this event, and I urge your kind attention in those. Before finish, I would like to express my profound gratitude to the World Economic Forum and A2I for partnering with us to host this event and making it happen. I also thank all esteemed guests for your kind presence and agreeing to spend few hours time to make our consultation on education, accelerating blended education for smart Bangladesh successful. Thank you once again. Joy Bangla.
Thank you, Honorable Secretary, for your insightful welcome remarks. We are delighted to have you here today. Next, we have two keynote presenters who will share their perspectives on blended education and skills. Our first keynote presenter is Ms. Tanya Milberg, Lead of Education, Skills, and Learning from the World Economic Forum.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, on behalf of the World Economic Forum and the Center for the New Economy and Society, it's truly an honor to have the opportunity to co-host this event alongside the Ministry of Education and Aspire to Innovate A2I. The World Economic Forum's interest in education, skills, and learning stems from a clear and compelling rationale. The development and availability of skills greatly influence a country's economic competitiveness and growth prospects. While we cannot predict the technologies or business models that will emerge in the next 20 to 30 years, it is evident that nations with an education ecosystem that embraces new technologies and innovations are more likely to be at the forefront of future economic expansion. The World Economic Forum shares a firm belief in the importance of a multi-stakeholder approach to harness opportunities and address challenges. This conviction led to the launch of the Accelerator Initiative several years ago. The aim is twofold. Firstly, to establish a national platform for collaboration between the public and private sectors. And secondly, to facilitate the global exchange of knowledge and innovation. Through such inclusive dialogues and collaborations involving diverse stakeholders, we strongly believe that countries can unlock additional opportunities to diversify their economic output, expedite the adoption of emerging technologies, access the markets of tomorrow, and cultivate an environment conducive to future innovations and equitable labor markets. As the International Organization for Public-Private Cooperation, the World Economic Forum is actively engaged in comprehending the complex global challenges we face and responding to those global trends and promoting opportunities for collaboration and knowledge exchange. To enrich our current discussion, I would like to highlight a few key takeaways derived from our recent research, the Future of Jobs Report, the Skills First approach, and our Education 4.0 framework. The Future of Jobs Report draws insights from a comprehensive survey conducted among prominent global employers. And the primary objective of this report is to gain a profound understanding of the current and potential future scenarios in the job market and the associated skill requirements. There are a few important points that emerge from this research. The first is that the human-machine frontier has shifted, with business introducing automation into their operations at a slower pace than previously anticipated. So according to current estimates, machines handle approximately 34% of business-related tasks, while humans are responsible for the remaining 66%. This pace of automation is slower than what was anticipated in the Future of Jobs report of 2020, where respondents predicted that nearly half, 47%, of business tasks would be automated within the next 5 years. However, recent revisions in the expectations indicate that respondents now project 43% of business tasks to be automated by the year 2027. Disruptions to skills have returned to their long-term trend. Since the last report was released at the height of the pandemic, when surveyed companies estimated that 57% of workers' skills would change in the coming 5 years. That figure now stands at 44%. In a world where 44% of workers' skills are set to be disrupted in the next 5 years, resilience, self-awareness, curiosity, and lifelong learning is essential. When evaluating the most essential skills, cognitive abilities currently hold primary importance, both in their present significance and in what businesses will prioritize in the near future. The capacity for reasoning and creativity is highly valued by businesses, with creativity steadily gaining ground alongside analytical thinking. This highlights the significant role of cognitive capabilities, particularly creativity, where we can confidently surpass AI for the foreseeable future. Additionally, according to our recent report entitled Skills First, it has been revealed that 49% of individuals are employed in occupations that are not directly aligned with their formal education. This presents an opportunity to reconsider the strategies employed to bridge the gap between talent supply and demand, and to reimagine the concept of learning starting from an early age. So, how can we seize this opportunity? The World Economic Forum has outlined 8 characteristics for learning content and experiences that define high-quality education in the Fourth Industrial Revolution, known as Education 4.0. We emphasize the importance of incorporating certain skills and pedagogical approaches into our education system. These aspects are crucial for preparing students to thrive in our rapidly changing world. Firstly, we need to focus on developing global citizenship skills. This involves providing content that raises awareness about the wider world, sustainability, and playing an active role in the global community. Secondly, we must foster innovation creativity skills. Our education system should include content that cultivates and necessary skills for innovation, including complex problem solving, analytical thinking, creativity, and system analysis. Next, technology skills. These are paramount in today's digital age. We must provide students with content that focuses on developing digital skills, including programming, digital responsibility, and the use of technology. Interpersonal skills. Of great importance, it's crucial to emphasize the development of emotional intelligence, including empathy, cooperation, negotiation, leadership, and self-awareness. These skills are fundamental for effective communication, collaboration, and building positive relationships. On the pedagogical side, we argue the need to shift from a standardized learning system to one that recognizes and caters to the diverse individual needs of each learner. Flexibility is key, allowing students to progress at their own pace and ensuring that no one is left behind. Accessibility and inclusivity are vital aspects of learning. We must move away from a system that limits learning to those with access to physical school buildings, and instead we should strive for a system where learning is accessible to all, ensuring inclusivity and equal opportunities for everyone. And lastly, under problem-based and collaborative learning, we need to transition from a process-based content delivery to project and problem-based approaches. This encourages peer collaboration, active engagement, and closely aligns with the future of work. It's imperative that we reassess the current system, which diminishes learning and skills development over an individual's lifespan, and instead adopt one where everyone continuously enhances their existing skills and acquires new ones based on their unique needs. Oh, went too fast. Hang on. As an example, we estimate that a global improvement in students' collaborative problem-solving capacity to the average level of today's top 10 scoring countries could add an additional $2.5 trillion in increased productivity to the global economy. There is a very clear and strong economic case for investing in education. In absolute terms, Europe and South Asia stand to benefit the most. To achieve this vision, it's crucial for stakeholders from all sectors of society to actively participate. Considering education's integral role within society, such a transformation necessitates extensive collaboration among multiple stakeholders and the implementation of new policies, frameworks, and tools. The encouraging news is that aspiring innovators do not need to start from square one or devise entirely new approaches to overcome these shared challenges. Education has always been the cornerstone of human development and progress, and Bangladesh is no exception. It is a country with tremendous potential, and education is the key to unlocking that potential. Drawing on the work and the experiences developed by the World Economic Forum, we aim to provide our Accelerators Network a platform for collaboration and facilitating the advancement and support of educational innovations in Bangladesh. This impartial platform serves to address forthcoming challenges and unlock the vast potential that lies ahead. Today, we had a very rich discussion with the co-chairs of the Blended Education Accelerator on the priorities for our work, upcoming milestones, and desired impact. And we would like to express our sincere gratitude to Her Excellency Dr. Deepu Moni, Minister of Education of Bangladesh, Junaid Ahmed Palek, His Excellency Minister of State for ICT of Bangladesh, Asif Saleh, Executive Director of BRAC, and Ms. Rubana Haq, Chairperson Mohammadi Group. We extend our heartfelt appreciation for your inspiring leadership, visionary ideas, and dedication to ensuring the success of this collaboration. We would also like to express our sincere appreciation and gratitude to the A2I team for their invaluable contributions. It has been an absolute pleasure working with you, and we eagerly anticipate the next phase of our journey. Your dynamism, entrepreneurial spirit, and commitment to implementing the Smart Bangladesh vision serves as a great inspiration to us. We hope for the Blended Education Accelerator to be a prime example of how innovation and technology can be harnessed to drive social and economic progress. It is indeed a testament to the government's commitment to investing in education, which is critical for the country's long-term development. As we explore the future of work and the impact of the fourth industrial revolution, there is a notable level of uncertainty and raises important questions. But it's encouraging to witness a clear vision of how to leverage these emerging technologies to foster nation building and establish a prosperous, resilient, equitable economy and society in Bangladesh. We are particularly inspired by the blended education ecosystem and the Smart Bangladesh Vision 2041, and we are eager to contribute to this advancement. Through our Global Accelerator Network, we aim to provide a platform for Bangladesh to share this inspiring vision with the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Milberg, for sharing your very thoughtful presentation on the relationship between education and job, and sharing your experience from the World Economic Forum. Our second keynote presenter is Mr. Anir Chaudhary, Policy Advisor from Aspire to Innovate A2I.
Much. Distinguished co-chairs of the Education Accelerator, honorable ministers, respected secretaries, DGs, esteemed colleagues from the government, private sector, civil society, academia, friends from media and development partners, and obviously our two colleagues from World Economic Forum who have actually facilitated a discussion just before, and Tanya for presenting the vision of the world as far as education and skills and employment is concerned. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'll talk about what has happened in Bangladesh, perspective from COVID, which disrupted education worldwide. So globally, 1.6 billion learners and 45 million in Bangladesh did not go to school. But education did not stop. We had schools closed for 18 months in Bangladesh, but education was not closed for more than a week. So how did this happen? It was not because of certain magic that happened during COVID, but because of painstaking, methodical execution by the entire government, including the private sector, civil society, to build an education ecosystem steeped in technology, led by our Honorable Prime Minister, who declared the vision of a digital Bangladesh in 2008. So the journey started at that time. Some of the big milestones I'll talk about is multimedia classroom, started in 2010. Now we have a multimedia classroom, a very important educational infrastructure in almost all schools, 110,000 schools. Teachers portal, which empower teachers to work together in a portal. Almost 600,000 teachers are participating in it right now, developing content, sharing with each other, empowering each other. Started in 2013. In 2014, ICT division started the process of developing Sheikh Russell Digital Labs. And the Minister of Education also created learning labs in many schools. Almost 20,000 schools now have these labs. Muktopat, which is our national e-learning platform, has had 2.2 million learners since 2016, when the Honorable Prime Minister opened this platform. Connect is a students' platform, mostly for adolescents. 3 million kids, children, went through this platform during COVID. And then if you look at content, mostly created by teachers, edtech companies, startups, about 520,000 pieces of digital content that have been created. And interestingly, in 2019, just before COVID, our Honorable Education Minister and Honorable Deputy Minister for Education opened this publication called Futures of Education in Bangladesh with a vision for 2041. So how education will actually change and how society will change because of that. What happened in COVID, as I mentioned, within 12 days of the school closure, we were able to start putting content on internet, on Parliament TV. Parliament TV became our education TV almost overnight. All the other education ministries, technical, vocational education, primary education, madrasa, so they all followed suit within a month. So within a month, we actually had Parliament TV becoming education TV with 2,500 TV classes, radio classes, online, live, courses of 100,000 content. We had 5,000 quiz assignments, revolutionizing assessment during COVID. We had 18,000 digital contents, 2,000 ebooks, tutorials for teachers called Teacher Ambassadors, of which we have over 2,000, which have come from the Teachers Portal. And a very interesting collaboration of public-private people partnership, not just public-private partnership, but people also got involved. Parents got involved in more ways than ever before. So COVID actually catalyzed a disruption and revolution in thinking of how education can be provided through blended, which is a combination of physical and digital. We're not talking about only digital or only physical. It's a phygital combination, essentially, we're talking about. Interestingly, even without design, we talk about personalized education. And recently, Sal Khan of Khan Academy talked about how education has to be personalized. So essentially, going forward, AI will probably do that. But during 2020, COVID did that. So before COVID, we had the learning plan. So all students had one size fits all type of education delivery. So everybody had subject 1 for 5 hours, subject 2 for 5 hours, so on and so forth. During COVID, because students actually drove education in their own way, we actually saw students focusing on math if they are weak in math for 5 hours, English if they're not so weak in English for 4 hours, so on and so forth. So in a very interesting way, we saw the emergence of personalized education even without planning it. And we took some lessons from that. So Honorable Education Minister talked about in 2020 in a Next Gen Edu panel on reimagining learning that we have seen the emergence of blended education, which is physical and digital combined through COVID, and that's here to stay. And that will actually redefine how we deliver education and the knowledge ecosystem in society today. So the formation of the National Blended Education Skills Task Force around the middle of 2021 happened with the Honorable Education Minister as the chair and the member secretary, the Secretary of Secondary and Higher Education Division. We have 13 ministries within it. That means the 13 ministers and state ministers across these 13 ministries are members. We have 13 secretaries, 16 DGs, 8 chairpersons, members of different agencies, vice chancellors, industry association leaders, and educationists. So about 59 members are part of the National Blended Education Task Force, and we have the opportunity to co-opt new members to include more private sector going forward. So if you look at the 13 ministries, 6 are education-related ministries. So primary education, secondary higher education, technical, madrasa, higher education, and medical education. So these are the 6 subcommittees of the National Task Force. And then we also included later on the 6 skills-related major ministries. So expatriate welfare, labor and employment, youth and sports, textiles and jute, women and children affairs, and the Ministry of Industries. And the National Skills Development Authority, NSDA, is also part of this whole blended education and skills task force. There is a special subcommittee called Research and Development and Innovation Subcommittee, which is headed by the ICT Secretary. And this is an important subcommittee because that's where a lot of the innovations, a lot of the coordination, a lot of the global best practices, of which I think World Economic Forum, this new partnership with WEF actually will deliver a lot of global innovation into Bangladesh. So the R&D Innovation Subcommittee will actually work on that. And we obviously have a combination of government, private sector, civil society, academia, and media, because media also became a delivery channel for education. There are 6 elements of this blended education skills framework. I'll just very quickly mention them. The first one is the teaching learning practice, the pedagogy in classrooms and also online. The content and resources, so digital content and physical content like textbooks that will be required. Assessment is actually moving, as you know, from summative assessment at the end of the year to formative assessment continuously done throughout the year. So that's a major revolution that's happening in our assessment. In terms of capacity development of teachers, face-to-face and online. In terms of infrastructure, which is where the Ministry of, so the ICT division and the telecom division are working together in terms of high-tech, low-tech, and no-tech. So 3 types of infrastructure components. No-tech is where there is no technology really, the traditional textbook and print materials. Low-tech is the traditional technologies such as TV, radio, and high-tech is where internet, social media, artificial intelligence, those come in. And the 6th very important aspect is employment, whether we are creating skills through our education and knowledge ecosystem for the market, as the market is very, very dynamically changing very rapidly, as Tanya talked about in her presentation just now. The 20 billion costing that we did for the master plan for blended education, that's not new financing. So we're not saying that by 2030, we'll need new money. This is essentially connecting the dots. There is money already in the different projects and initiatives of the different ministries, the 13 ministries that I talked about, and NSDA. So it's really a combination of all of that. We need to cleverly make sure that we don't duplicate efforts and we actually amplify efficiency and effectiveness. So a few examples here. Using Muktopat, which is the e-learning platform, we trained about 625,000 teachers for the new national curriculum in a short few months. We trained about 470,000 teachers on 13 subjects. The psychosocial first aid online training has also been given to 285,000 teachers. So you see the scale at which this can operate right now across a number of different partners, such as the Directorate of Secondary Higher Education, Medical Education, Technical Education, so on and so forth, UNICEF, all working together, EU working together. The online training for national university students, that has started with a project called Dikha in ICT division and A2I working together. Multimedia talking books to support the persons with disability, the students who have disabilities of various kinds within our education ecosystem. The National Curriculum Textbook Board, ICT division A2I working together for that. Smart Leadership Academy, which will be unveiled very soon, early June of this year, by Honorable Speaker of the Parliament. So this is where the EDGE project, ICT division, A2I, Ministry of Public Administration, Education Ministry, they're all working together. Partnerships for establishing digital infrastructure, another collaborative arrangement within government and with private sector. So ICT division has taken an initiative through the EDC project to cover 90,000 education institutions, including the 2,200 colleges under National University. The Japanese Kumon model is being experimented with in several schools, along with BRAC and the Sheikh Russell Digital Lab and DOICT. Smart primary secondary schools are being put together by all the different ministries of education and ICT division. In terms of research, which is also an area where World Economic Forum can actually help us do impact analysis. The EdTech system analysis that we're doing with EdTech Hub of UK, a NGO, international NGO called 100. We're working very closely with Open University. We're working closely with Cardiff University for various types of educational research. One important area where we have focus that we traditionally probably did not do as much is focusing on skills and employment. So if you look at the employment cycle, we have a platform called NICE, National Intelligence for Skills, Education, Employment, and Entrepreneurship. So there is youth registration, self-assessment, and this is again a platform that we're working with the private sector very, very closely. One of our co-chairs, Dr. Rubana Haq, she represents the private sector. So we're actually working on physical, virtual training, job fairs, job portals from the private sectors, all working together with the government. One example of the 20 billion, how it's actually coming together. So we have seen that ICT division has 63 initiatives, training 2.8 billion people, reaching out to 45 million students, and connecting 90,000 educational institutions with a budget of $1.7 billion already. So again, we can connect the dots, do the mapping, and that's where World Economic Forum can actually help us do that mapping. Now, let me conclude with the Education Accelerator. So we are envisioning this as the Secretariat for the Blended Education Task Force. So this was already announced by our Honorable Education Minister, Dr. Deepu Moni, in Davos last year. The vision for this is that we prepare smart citizens for smart Bangladesh. Now that we are in the era of smart Bangladesh, having achieved many of the milestones of digital Bangladesh, led by our Prime Minister, Sheikh Hasina, the mission is to connect, innovate, and scale up. So we have the innovations. Often what happens with innovations is that they sit on shelves and don't get scaled up. But in the context of Bangladesh, with one of the largest educational ecosystem in the world, scale up is a must. And this is where we want to teach the rest of the world how we scale up very effectively in a country with scant resources. So frugal innovations scaled up nationally and then globally. The last thing I would like to say is that our expectation of this new partnership with World Economic Forum, threefold. One is the 6 elements that I talk about: pedagogy, content, assessment, capacity of teachers, inclusive infrastructure, and employment. This is where we'll see global partnerships through WEF. We will see global innovations coming to Bangladesh through these partnerships. And we will also teach the rest of the world the innovations that we have done in Bangladesh, in digital Bangladesh, and in smart Bangladesh. So Bangladesh to the rest of the world. And the last thing that I want to end with, the last slide, is that one of the things that we did during our blended education workshop last year, one of the themes that came up is that each student, each learner will say, I am the solution. And as Tanya talked about, that AI is taking over the world, AI is actually basically replacing human beings. So we want to say that AI will not replace human beings. I am still going to be the solution. So that slogan of blended education in Bangladesh, I am the solution, still stands. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, for your informative presentation. We appreciate your valuable insights and are proud of Bangladesh's progress in establishing blended education activities across all sectors. Before we move on to the next part of the program, let us enjoy a video on highlighting the nation's advancements of blended education, starting with Transformation in Education, New Curriculum Implementation. there was a beautiful video we have seen on the new curriculum implementation. For the second session, we will now be moving on to our panel discussion towards smart education for smart Bangladesh, the role of public-private people partnerships in accelerating the implementation of blended education in Bangladesh. The panel will be moderated by Professor Dr. AQM Shofiul Azam, Director of the Planning and Development Wing, Directorate of Secondary and Higher Education. I would like to invite Dr. Azam to join us on stage and kindly begin the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I go on taking on this part of responsibility, I'd like to give a big hand to the team who have presented our latest intervention, the introduction of our new curriculum and in its implementation journey, which has really been a great journey, a move from the traditional approach and a move from the face-to-face to the blended approach where we are, which is aligned with our Honorable Prime Minister's declaration of Smart Bangladesh by 2041, and which we will achieve through smart education. And thank you. Thank you. I was worried why people are not clapping because of that smart presentation that our team has done. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for taking the initiative. And in this particular session, we have seen the journey of our new beginning. It is said that any reform process, planning takes only 10% of the job, and implementation and execution takes almost the 90% of it. I'm privileged to share the panel with the esteemed panelists who are not only deeply involved in the implementation of education in Bangladesh, it is high-powered panel of professionals who have the ability to accelerate the implementation of blended education in Bangladesh. The acceleration indeed is a collaborative effort, and thus it is exciting to be with the panel who are from the diverse stream of education and skill development. With these words, I would like to invite our esteemed panelists, starting with Mr. Kamal Hussain, Senior Secretary, Technical and Madrasa Education Division. May I humbly request you, sir, to come on the stage, please. And Mr. Suleiman Khan, Secretary, Secondary and Higher Education Division. Followed by Mr. Muhammad Samsul Arifin, Secretary, Information and Communication Technology Division. Then Ms. Nasreen Afroz, Executive Chairman and Honorable Secretary to the Government, National Skills Development Authority, NSDA. Mr. Fareed Ahmed, Secretary, Ministry of Primary and Mass Education. And last but not the least, Ms. Tania Milberg, Lead Education Skill and Learning, World Education Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our panel on Towards Smart Education for Smart Bangladesh. Yes, honestly speaking, we are striving to reach that smart Bangladesh through our approach to smart education. And this particular session, accelerating the blended education is one step forward. As I can remember 1 year back when we met in Daffodil University, then we came up with that branding that I am the solution. But I would like to thank Anir Bhai, because in today's presentation, he presented a bit further proceeded, and he has given one underneath, not only I am the solution, it's not AI, because in many of the cases, this smart education is misunderstood as an AI. So, Today we have 6 distinguished panelists joining for us, various sectors, who will share their insights, activities, and ideas on improving, advancing blended education in Bangladesh. And we have very limited time for this session. I would like to humbly request our panel members to be very focused so that we can complete our session in limited time frame. So, may I now move? My first question is posed towards our, sorry. My first question is posed towards our Honorable Senior Secretary, TMED. How can we ensure that blended education is integrated effectively in madrasa education to provide students with access to quality education while preserving the traditional values and teaching of madrasa education?
Thank you very much. Honorable Education Minister, Honorable State Minister for ICT, Honorable Deputy Minister for Education, and other distinguished guests, dear participants, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. Actually, in our country, you know, almost 22 lakhs students, they study in the madrasa education. And to some extent, this madrasa education get lesser attention from our side. Sometimes their physical facilities or infrastructure are not that good, and the teachers' quality also are not that much good enough. But there are students who was promising in the madrasa education system also. So they need this sort of technological advancement. They should get the opportunity to use this blended education, and also the teachers also, they should get the access to this blended education system. And what can I say, that this sort of education, I mean blended education, we can train the teachers for developing digital contents and provide digital equipments to the madrasa education, so that the students in madrasa education, keeping the values of the religious values, they can use this religious values. Digital system is not hindering to study keeping the religious values. So that is not a problem. But the issue is that usually the madrasa, the science background students, the percentage is not that much higher in madrasa education. And we need to introduce more scientific science education, and also equipment and establishment of labs, and also provide support so that the students in the madrasa education as well as the teachers can get the opportunity to utilize the digital devices for the advancement or for their learning process. I think if we can engage madrasa education, the students of the madrasa education in this blended education, then in any crisis moment like COVID, they will not, they will get the opportunity to remain in the class virtually also. And also in some remote areas where there are some problems getting sufficient teachers, qualified teachers, in using this digital system, the students can learn from the lectures of the other qualified teachers through virtual system. So I think this blended education necessary in madrasa education.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
sir.
very much.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights. My next question is towards our Honorable Secretary Shed. Since you are the member secretary of our Blended Education National Task Force Committee, uh, under that pretext, what are some of the challenges and what needs to be done to ensure successful implementation of blended education across Bangladesh? It's working, sir.
Thank you very much for the question. So I think the second we have seen the two presentations. The second presentation was probably appropriate for our case. As we have seen that during pandemic, Bangladesh is one of the countries in the world has experienced a longer period of school closures during pandemic. But we are lucky enough that we have managed to reduce our damages in education. I mean, learning loss through providing uh, learning through blended education. I mean online education. So yeah, I think every bad ends with an opportunity. That was an opportunity for us to introduce the blended education in our system. So now, so when you want to introduce a new system, new thing in the system, you must face some sad challenges, and we have too. So there are a lot of challenges we are introducing blended education in Bangladesh we are facing now. So the first thing, we had have an internal meeting, so the small meetings just our back. In that meeting we're talking about the few things. I think the first one is ensuring the quality infrastructure with all amenities, internet connections, all other things developed or smart lab, something like that. So qualified introduction of, establishing qualified labs and these type of things so that where all equipments, all the equipments are available to ensure to give the blended education, online education. And that is one of the area, I think, one of the challenges. And other things, ensure the teachers quality is very important here because from the supply side, if you want to keep the teachings online, teachers must be qualified. You must have trained teachers to give education to the students online. So ensuring teachers quality is another challenge, and again, contents development, innovations is also another area of challenges, I think so. And administration coordination, some sort of coordinations we need. If you want to introduce blended education, in Bangladesh we have Bangladesh education system is a little bit different from others because we have three levels of education. Primary, secondary, and tertiary level too. But we have in the system we have general education, and then again we have madrasa education. So it's quite different from many other countries, and again we have technical, of course, technical education. So when there are three types of educations, three types of education in the system. So some sort of coordination is needed to give our students the blended education. Again, so, if we want to give to provide blended education, teaching or learning under the blended education system. So you want to, we need to. We need to decide, how to make you understand at what level, in what amount. It's very important because the primary is the amount of educations your education you want to provide the primary level, the same amount should not be the secondary level, and again the tertiary level. So it's very important to what amount we provide, the education we provide to our students in what amount. Again, another challenge remains with that, in our country, the socioeconomic condition is not the same in the rural and in urban areas. So students from the rural areas, they might not have proper access to the internet and other things. So I mean, the some students might have not might not be so affluent to provide. Buying the accessories. Devices. So here is another challenge to provide all the devices to all level of students. So all these are challenges we have. So huge number of challenges we have. But again, when there are challenges, there are efforts. We have efforts. Of course, we have efforts. And as we have efforts, we have, when there, we need to take some initiatives, then you need some accumulation of resources. Again, as I want to say that here, we have efforts and we have resources too. Resources too in the sense that we have some stance here to address all these things. First thing was that our government has a strong commitment in the education sector, you know. So again, another strength is that our economy is a growing economy. And we have experienced, impressive growth during the last couple of years, for a decade or more. So our economy is growing, so increasing financing is not a problem nowadays, I think so. These are strengths, and again, I'll say participants of DPS and partners from global partners. They are increasingly global partners, and DPS are participating in our education system. They're providing funds. So all these things are strengths too. So I think we are in right place. I think we are already in blended educations. We need to solidify it. This is the thing. These next steps should be solidified. And we are proud and we are happy to know that we have already a draft plan, master plan for blended education. So if you endorse it someday in the future, things are going to run in a very proper way. That's all.
Thank you, sir. That's a very positive note, and you have given us the challenges as well as the ways and means that you are deploying right at this moment to address the issues. But I just cannot resist the temptation of asking you one follow-on question. Considering your additional role as a secondary and higher education subcommittees, chair. As a chair of that committee, how do you look into this accelerator program supporting your efforts to enhance the quality of education and prepare students for the future job market?
Thank you again. During last 50 years, we have a lot of achievements in education. So in fact, if you think about the enrollment, we were able to bring our children to the schools. In the primary level, I think enrollment rate is 98%. And again, if you want, if you think about the child education, so we have able to ensure the education for child. And again, so a lot of things we have achieved in education. So now the question is of the quality education. Ensuring quality is the priority now. As you said, how do we make our students properly? Education, we need education with skill. If we do not have the autistic students do not have appropriate knowledge with appropriate skills, they should not come to use for our future need, to meet our future need. So we dream as a nation. We dream to be a developed nation by 2041. So this generation should be prepared for that. And this generation, those are in schools now, they lead the nation to achieve those goals. So I think the first presentation says, I do not understand IT. I don't understand well the ITs, all these things. But the first one I have seen that students should have the skill on technology, should have a skill on interpersonal skill, and they should have a skill on innovation and creativity. I think all these things, if we want, we can ensure for children with with all these skills, they should be appropriate. They should be appropriate and should be going to be asset for our country. The nation we are dreamed for a developed nation by 2041.
Thank you very much, sir. I would like to move very quickly to our Honorable Secretary of ICT Division. Sir, given you are the member of our National Task Force for the Blended Education and also the chair of Research and Development Subcommittee, we have seen how ICT Division has been supporting similar governmental organization, and definitely I have to mention ATOI's effort in this intervention as the local coordinator in facilitating accelerators initiative ranging from the educational content to the youth-based skill training. There have also been recent developments in infrastructure such as SODL and EDC project. Why is bringing the digital divide important to ensure blended education for all learners as we work towards our development and economic goals for Smart Bangladesh?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for your good question and very relevant question. I would like to gratitude to and pay respect to our Honorable Education Minister and State Minister for ICT and Deputy Minister of Education and all distinguished guests and panelists. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. As we know that the blended education is a new concept and it will bring the education to the remote areas and bridging the digital divide for the people, the students, those who are living in the remote areas, and the student, those who are living in urban areas. They will get the same education from urban or city to the remote areas. This is the bridging concept, and also you know that we have infrastructure we have built in our rural areas like connectivity, and also there are many education that is SRDL project and also EDC project we have connected to the rural areas. So the students can get their education from remotely. It is a new concept, and I think that will help the students for learning in remote area, and also they can develop their skillfulness. Thank you for your good question.
Thank you very much for your answer, sir. I would like to quickly move on to our Honorable Executive Chairman, NSDA. In the light of the emerging technologies and with recent progress in the National Skill Development Policy, how is NSDA taking a whole of government and whole of society coordination approach to ensure that the right skills are being developed as the market is changing dynamically very fast?
Thank you very much. You know, we are now enjoying the demographic dividend. That is one of the most important thing of the whole century, I think, regarding our country. And you know, our Honorable Prime Minister is a visionary leader. She always thinks ahead. For this reason, and National Skills Development Authority has been established and now is working in full swing. Recently, National Skills Development Policy has been approved by the Cabinet Division, and regarding that National Skills Development Policy, we are now working to take every ministries and every sectors who are working or to take steps regarding skill-related actions. National Skills Development Authority is established to ensure one competency standard so that everybody should follow this. And that means not only just skills development skills or skill development works, we would like to ensure one standard certificate which will work not only for the country and also abroad. And National Skills Development Authority is working to coordinate in such a manner so that everybody will come together and we will work hand in hand with the industrial sectors, and we would like to ensure some linkage, industry linkage, that means, and also apprenticeship and also some works so that we can ensure to enjoy our demographic dividend just successfully to work together with this. And implementation of the National Skills Development Policy will play a key role in Bangladesh's goal of becoming a middle income country by 2020 and also a developed country in 2041. We would like to work together with skills, not only education, but skills, and that standard skills. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your insights from the skill development wing, what we are doing. I would quickly move on to our Secretary, Primary and Mass Education Division. Ministry of Primary and Mass Education. As a chair of the pre-primary, primary and non-formal subcommittee, you are well aware of the large learners and the teacher population, and considering the diverse socioeconomic background they belong. How do you plan to effectively integrate blended education into primary education where there may be limited access to technology?
Thank you so much, our respected Education Minister, as well as Honorable State Minister and Deputy Minister, and dear respected participant, Assalamu alaikum. All of us, we know the primary education and or elementary education is the foundation of education. And we consider every student is our national assets. And we want to make our every student as a global citizen. And all of you know, the blended education requires access to technology. We can explore alternative way of providing technology to school and students, such as through partnership with community or government initiative or development partner. And we have already taken a lot of initiative to provide sufficient digital equipments to our school, as well as we are providing digital literacy to all of our school. In this arena, but there are most of the development partners like UNICEF, UNESCO, IDB, and European Union, USAID, ADB, all are with us. And we have targeted to provide to cover 100% government primary school to provide laptop, projector, and digital device by next financial year. And also we are trained our teacher. And by this time, we have already trained near about 3 lakhs teachers on digital literacy, and hopefully we'll cover 100% by next financial year. That is one of the major success, we'll say, in primary education, as well as by the coming year, we will cover all of our 65,000 plus government primary school to provide all of the digital equipments, including laptop, tab, and projector, as well as providing the digital literacy and training of the all teacher. Besides that, aligning with the national education curricula, we have already moved to BTPT, I mean basic training from primary teacher, instead of DPED, Diploma in Primary Education. We are going to start in coming July. And we have already decided to make our total training system for our teacher in 3 parts. One is for basic training for primary teacher that will be for 8 months, and in the mid-level they will get CPD, continuous professional development, depending upon the demand. And finally, we'll provide advanced training for our teachers. And we are targeting to make our teacher as a good guide, as a good facilitator, as a good coach, and as a good mentor rather than an educationalist. So that we have already changed our total training curricula from this year to achieve this goal. As well as you will be happy to know that according to new training curricula, already we have started our activities. And besides that, depending upon the experience of last COVID-19, recently with the help of USAID, European Union, and other development partners, and with the help of our government fund, we have already made strategy for continue our education in emergency. If any natural or man-made disaster, we can. Now we are very confident to continue our learning system with distant learning system as well as with the blending system. And now we are very much confident to continue to these educational activities during any disaster system. And now we are very confident on that. As well as we have made digital content with new strategy to continue education learning process in emergency situation. And we have planned to train our teacher depending upon their learning level, as well as the demand of the student to meet the blended education in coming future. And we have already prepared our modified version of primary level books for pre-primary to class 3, and hopefully grade 4 and 5 by next year, aligning with the national revised curricula. And ultimately, we are aiming to use all sorts of possibilities to integrate blending education for smart Bangladesh. And I think we are in the right way, and it is very much possible for us to reach our goal with the help of not only our government, but the help of with all of the important stakeholders, as well as all of our development partners. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing it. So far, we were listening to the stories from Bangladesh. I would now like to move on to Tanya Milberg. What some examples of successful initiatives and collaborations from other countries in the accelerators network that could be adapted to the context of Bangladesh? That will add value to our discussion, I think.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Azam. But I'm going to be a bit cheeky here, and I'm aware of time and how we went over, and I'm so keen to hear from the co-chairs that I'm going to make my remarks very brief. One, I will apply blended learning and encourage you to go on the World Economic Forum's Accelerator website and study some of the examples from an international global network that we have. And just say 2 points. One, that if we want to stay committed to achieving success with this accelerator model here in Bangladesh, we need to continue to build relationships of trust with the private and public sector and other key stakeholders, because we're stronger when we work together. And the second key to success is really to identify where our strengths are and our expertise, and to really focus on creating those partnerships that will amplify those to drive tangible impact. So I'm sorry I'm leaving you in anticipation to learn more about the network, but I do encourage you to go online and check out some of our examples.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a wonderful session with our panelists, having stories from country as well as Tanya Milberg's example, which has enriched us. Let's give a big round of applause to the panelists for sharing their. And with these words, I would like to conclude this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you to our moderator for conducting the session and esteemed panelists for sharing their valuable insights. Your diverse perspective and expertise have provided us with a roadmap for implementing and sustaining a successful blended education system. Let's work together to create a smarter and more inclusive future for Bangladesh. Before we move on to the next session, please enjoy another video on the thematic topic, Accelerating Smart Education for Smart Bangladesh.
শহীদুল ইসলামিয়া কামিল মাদ্রাসার সপ্তম শ্রেণীর ছাত্রী খাদিজা। আমার কাছে এই নতুন শিক্ষাক্রমটি খুবই ভালো লাগে, কারণ আগে আমরা দলগতভাবে কাজ করতে পারতাম না, এখন আমরা দলগতভাবে কাজ করতে পারি। আগে আমরা অনেক কিছু জানতে পারতাম না, তবে সবাই একসাথে কাজ করার কারণে আমরা অনেক কিছু জানতে পারি। একসাথে বসে যখন আমরা গ্রুপের ওয়ার্কগুলো করি, তখন আমাদের মধ্যে নেতৃত্ববোধ তৈরি হয় এবং আমরা একসাথে অনেক সমস্যার সমাধান করতে পারি, যেটা আমরা একা করলে পারি না। ধরেন বাল্যবিবাহ, এটা নিয়ে আমরা আগে কথা বলতে পারতাম না একা একা। তারপর আমরা যখন আমাদের সবাই মিলে আমরা যখন কাজ করা শুরু করি, তখন আমরা এক একজন এক একটা সিদ্ধান্ত দিতে থাকে, তারপর আমরা এটা নিয়ে ভালো মতো জানি এবং শিখি। আমার একজন ফুফাতো বোন, আমার আব্বুর বোন, তার মেয়ের বয়স হচ্ছে 14 বছর। তার বিয়ে হতে নিয়েছিল, তারপর আমি আমার আব্বু আম্মুকে বলি যে এই বিয়েটা তো ঠিক না, এখন এই বিয়েটাকে বন্ধ করা দরকার, কারণ বাল্যবিবাহ হচ্ছে ওর। তো আম্মু আব্বুকে আমি বাল্যবিবাহ সম্পর্কে কিছু তথ্য বলি, যেটা আমার বইয়ের থেকে পড়া। তো তারা এই কথাটা শুনে বলেছেন যে হ্যাঁ, তোমার কথাটা তো ঠিক, তো এই কথাটা ওনাদেরকে বলা দরকার। তারপর আমার আম্মু যে আমার যে বোন, ফুফাতো বোন, তাদেরকে তার বাবা মাকে যে বলেন যে আপনার মেয়েকে এই বয়সে বিয়েটা দিবেন না, কারণ আপনার মেয়ে তাহলে অনেক পিছিয়ে যাবে, আপনার মেয়ের অনেক দিক দিয়ে অনেক সমস্যা হতে পারে। তো আপনার মেয়েকে এই বিয়েটা দিবেন না, কারণ এই বিয়েটা বাল্যবিবাহ হয়ে যাচ্ছে। আপনারা যদি এখন এই বিয়েটা না বন্ধ করেন, তাহলে আমরা বাকি পদক্ষেপ নিব। ওনাকে আগে বোঝানো হয়েছে, তারপর উনি বুঝেছেন, তারপর উনি বিয়েটা বন্ধ করেছেন। যেহেতু আমি এটা সমাজের একটি কল্যাণে ব্যবহার করতে পেরেছি, আমি চাই আমার মতো আরও যারা খাদিজা আছেন, তারা এটাকে আরও বেশি ভালোভাবে ব্যবহার করতে পারেন। এই শিক্ষাক্রম ব্যবহার করে আমরা আগামীতে স্মার্ট বাংলাদেশ গড়ে তোলার প্রত্যাশা রাখি।
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Such a wonderful Evie that not only showed our dream, but also the ways how we are thinking of materializing it. We are almost at the conclusion session, and before we conclude, we will go to, we will hear from our co-chairs as well as from our guests. At the very beginning, I would like to invite Mr. Asif Saleh, Executive Director, BRAC, who is the co-chair of this accelerator. May I humbly request Mr. Asif Saleh to say a few words regarding this? Mr. Asif Saleh, please.
Thank you, Azam bhai. Your Excellencies, honorable ministers, dear guests. Again, in the interest of time, I'll be very, very brief. So I'll just make 3 very quick points. First, about this whole accelerator and the consortium. I think it's a combination of a number of things which makes me excited. One is World Economic Forum's involvement, because I have been involved with them in different capacities over the last 10 years. I was a young global leader, but then I have been also joining their various initiatives. So what I saw with my experience has been that they have a fantastic convening power. And they have also they can assemble some of the best minds from globally. So I think it's great that they are Bangladesh government, and also I was there when the honorable minister announced this initiative in Davos. So I think it's a great combination that this collaboration is happening with them, because it's an opportunity for us not only to show what Bangladesh has to offer to the world, but at the same time having a two-way knowledge collaboration. And then, of course, the co-chairs. I think with Rubana Appa, the Honorable Education Minister, Honorable ICT State Minister, I think in my experience, particularly with the Education Minister, wherever I've been with her in various conferences, she's extremely sought after figure, and there are usually, after the panel finishes, then there is a long queue of people that actually waits to talk to her, because she's such a powerful speaker. So, but I think with the whole sort of this combination of great minds, and as a convener, World Economic Forum, I think we can really make this a very exciting initiative. And essentially, with also blended education, I want to just say, which is my second point, I think it's also really great to see that government, particularly from the Education Ministry, has created this master plan on blended education and has decided that this is the way to go. Because I mean, for the longest time globally, what we heard was the digital is going to solve all the problems. But at the same time, we also operate in countries like in a country where its resources are constrained, and we have a huge number of student population that we have to deliver to. So oftentimes for scale, we have to be cost effective. We have to also look at what works. Based on our experience of what we have seen as well within BRAC is very last mile, where we saw wonderful students like her in that video, ensuring that she gets the same quality of education like my son or daughter would get in a city in Dhaka. So, and technology we know can be a great enabler and can be a great leveler as well. So from that, but it's not the answer as well. So that's from that perspective, doing this at scale, I think has not been done anywhere before, so that we have a lot of things to learn through this process, unpack, and of course, if this works well, then we can share with the rest of the world. And last point is mine is about inclusion. I think end of the day, so BRAC, for BRAC, education is such an important area because, as many of you know, that our programs are very holistic. Our theory is that there is no one magic solutions to poverty, but education is the one that basically breaks that intergenerational curse of poverty. And we see that everywhere around the country now. In the 90s, we went door to door to convince parents to send their daughters to school. Now we have more daughters in school rather than our sons. And when I go into various parts of the country, we see that hunger and demand for education has been created. People actually, no matter how poor they are paying, they're investing, and they're sending their children to also have additional education to private tutoring. So the demand is there, the hunger is there. Now the focus from basic access to education, now that that has been ensured, the focus has moved to ensuring higher quality education, quality education that is fit for purpose for this century in this changing context. So I think from that perspective, this also gives us as an organization a great platform and a structure to collaborate with the government in various areas. In thought areas, we have BRAC University's Institute of Education and BRAC Education Program that works very closely with government and various areas. So we are really excited that we can bring not only BRAC, but other non-state actors in this process, hopefully through this area. So we have an exciting plan, and congratulations to the initiators, A2I, Anir Bhai, thank you very much. And of course, our dynamic, very dynamic state ministers, both for education and technology, ICT. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh, for your insightful words. May I humbly request Ms. Rubana Haq, Vice Chancellor of Asian University of Women, for her coach's speech, please. Ms. Rubana Haq.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening. First of all, like Asif, I'd like to be brief. First of all, thank you very much, Ministry of Education, and of course, WEF for being here. I think the willingness of a country to collaborate with a platform like World Economic Forum means a lot. So, and the presence of the dynamic honorable ministers and state ministers itself kind of proves that we are on track. Let us just, I wear two hats. So I work with the university and I also represent private sector. I can only tell you that we have 4.1 million workers in ready-made garment industry. And when we talk about fourth industrial revolution, we don't know how to reskill them. Where will they go? Because, I often say this, and I'll say this again, that they are not going to become overnight coders. So how do we reskill them is one. Number two, I really believe that it's not just educational institutions that should be open for knowledge gathering. I think the entire country, throughout the country, we should be looking for spaces that we can educate, minds that we can teach, and create leaders who can lead. And through WEF, look for partners who are going to be partnering progress and pledging progress. So it's important to mention that while blended education seems to be our focus, we also have to be mindful of the fact that quality has to be ensured. It just cannot be an assimilation of lots of machines and not the man behind the machine. So quality is important. Very often, at our end, we find people who are very eligible, have the right degrees, but are not employable. So I also think that, very humbly, that we need to make sure that along with education comes employment and, of course, employability. I don't think there's much to say, except that through this collaboration, this is a time for co-opetition, collaborative competition. This is the era. So let us all join hands together, and private sector, universities, NGOs, and of course, through the dynamic leadership of all our ministers, I hope this platform gets speed, because there are basically 3 S's that we need. One is strategy. Another is, of course, the sincerity, and of course, speed. So strategy, sincerity, and speed, or spirit, whatever you call it, we need all the 3 S's. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you very much for your words. May I now humbly request Mr. Muhibul Hassan Chaudhry, MP, Honorable Deputy Minister, Ministry of Education, for your remarks as a special guest of this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening to you all. I'll be even shorter than my two previous speakers. I begin by paying my respect to the memory of our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, his family members who were brutally assassinated on the 15th of August of 1975, and I also pay my respect to the memory of our martyrs of our glorious War of Independence. Blended education, and today's conference, whatever was discussed today, participants have heard and gone through quite presentable presentations. Participants from stakeholders, private sector, policy level have all expressed their views, what we are planning to do, and our Honorable State Minister here, our Polok Bhai has prepared a very comprehensive speech, so I'm not going to say much, but he has a lot of points. Let me assure you, he's going to go through all the things that had been happening over the last 2 years, especially. So I'll leave that for him. But in our sort of side in the education sector, as most of us are aware, we started from almost zero when our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina took power in 2009. I say almost zero because even the basic benchmark for education, which is literacy, it was below 50%. Within a very short period of time, through continuous investment, restructuring the policies that are in place, we have raised that up to 74% now. In technical education, we had an enrollment of less than 1%, so it was 0.4%, where technical education sector is supposed to be the biggest sector for any developing country. And we've pushed that to around 18% now. We had almost no investment in, no significant investment in teachers training. Students could not even have books when they started their academic year. Every year, they had to borrow books from their siblings or books which were left behind by other students, former students. We had serious shortage of resource in our education sector. From that, today we are able to give free books to 32 million free books to our students. We are able to build school buildings in independent non-government schools. We are able to pay for the teachers who are teaching in our most marginal places. Our student number is all together, they are more than the entire Eastern Europe and even some countries in Southeast Asia. So given this challenge that we have here, and also a very archaic and very memory-driven system that we've had in our schools, in our universities, we are expected to face the challenge of the fourth industrial revolution. Now, all we want to assure everyone here is that not only we have now resolved this number challenge, the accessibility challenge, our Honorable Prime Minister has clearly told us to work on quality education and link the education sector with employment and with the fourth industrial revolution. And for that, she has asked us to go all out, including restructuring some of the archaic policy structures that we have. She has asked us to work with the private sector as well as the people sector. I say this because, I don't want to always sound like, private sector means companies and large employers in the private sector, but also non-government organizations who are running, who are very active and positively participating in the education sector for a long period of time. So we have learned from their experiences. We have partnered with them. We have partnered with independent institutions across the country. As you know, most of our secondary schools are independently ran. And we have been working with them closely, yet not, we haven't taken over the whole secondary school system, but it is a very collaborative model, and we can replicate this with other stakeholders and expand this platform. World Economic Forum has shown interest to work with us, and their representatives from World Economic Forum, they were asking us, what are the takeaways from Bangladesh? So, we wanted to tell you that we have a very good public-private partnership model in Bangladesh, which is working in the secondary school system, but our higher education, our vocational education, our madrasa education system, all these streams have to now connect with employability, have to now connect with the demand of the economy. And that's where we are working now. We are bringing in transformative changes. We are in the process of rolling out a new curriculum. And for that, we need to train our teachers, which we are doing across the country. Like I've said, numbers are a big challenge. Reaching out to the last mile is a big challenge. During the time of COVID, we have shown that with just willingness and sincerity, we can overcome many of the challenges that we have. But COVID has also taught us that fancy things such as devices and online contents and TV contents still have their limitations, especially when it comes to younger students, younger peoples. When it comes to achieving learning outcome in a particular age group, devices and technology are not the sole solutions. We need to also go low tech to no tech in certain age groups. From our experience, we've seen that when we've introduced no-tech solution, for example, for the first time we had experimented with assessments, assignments, home-based assignments, and self-learning, and teachers attending students' homes to assist them. We've had almost 94% response where students felt that they were adequately addressed. And with the online exposure and the television-based content exposure, we had a different picture. So we have learned a lot during this COVID experience, and based on our learning from this experience, we are going to move forward. And this blended education policy that we have framed by consulting all the stakeholders will be a good one, but it will depend on the willingness of the whole ecosystem to implement. So one of our challenge will remain that we need to change the mindset of the education ecosystem, starting from the topmost institution of this country to the pre-primary level or kindergarten level teachers. They have to adapt, they have to be re-skilled. We need more investment in this, but most importantly, we need to be prepared to face the challenges of the changing economic and technological challenges and times. So with these remarks, I leave it to our Palak Bhai, who has carefully pointed out all the things that were going very well and all our experiences over the last couple of years, and he will tell you all about it. Thank you very much. Jai Bangla, Jai Bangabandhu.
Thank you, sir, for your remarks. Now I'd like to humbly request our another co-chair and the special guest, Mr. Junaid Hussain Palak, MP, Honorable State Minister, ICT Division, for his remarks, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable State Minister, ICT Division.
Thank you very much for your kind introduction. Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Dipumoni MP, Honorable Minister for Education, Honorable Deputy Minister for Education, Mr. Mohibul Hassan Chaudhary Naufal MP, respected co-chairs, respected secretaries, and also representatives from World Economic Forum, dear friends from media, Assalamu alaikum, adab, and good evening to you all. At the outset, I would like to pay my deep respect to the father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who gave us freedom and also laid down the foundation of modern Sonar Bangla, Golden Bengal vision for Bangladesh. I would like to also give my heartiest thank to Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Honorable ICT Advisor, the main architect of Digital Bangladesh, Mr. Sajib Wazir Joy, who have given us Digital Bangladesh and also graduated Bangladesh from LDC country to middle income developing nation status. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to prolong my speech. Let me give my heartiest thanks to A2I and World Economic Forum and also Ministry for Education for arranging and organizing this excellent event, and also our first meeting with them. And we have discussed so many things and decided and prepared excellent plan for our smart Bangladesh, for our smart education, and also how we are going to implement our blended education master plan in short period of time. Our vision for smart Bangladesh already declared by Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and Honorable ICT Advisor. He selected 4 pillars for achieving smart Bangladesh. First, smart citizens, and second, smart economy, third, smart government, and fourth, smart society. At the core of our smart Bangladesh vision is our smart citizen. And to develop our smart, innovative, creative future generation, we need to focus on education. And that is why we are here, and we have identified 3 major areas for achieving smart Bangladesh vision and also blended education future plan. We must prepare our learners as smart learners, teachers as smart teachers, parents as smart parents, and as a whole, reform and improve our traditional education into smart education and learning ecosystem. To fulfill the vision of Honorable Prime Minister, Smart Bangladesh. This ecosystem will not be possible without the proper background infrastructure and technology. We have identified under ICT division, internet connectivity, affordable digital devices, and digital digital interactive content. These are the major components to achieve blended education. Let me also share with you, under the guidance of Honorable ICT Advisor Mr. Sajib Wazir Joy, what we have already taken some of our initiatives to fulfill these 3 specific requirements for achieving blended education master plan. To provide high-speed, reliable internet connectivity to all of our educational institutions, under ICT division, we have taken establishing digital connectivity project. Under that project, we are going to connect 109,000 last mile high-speed broadband connectivity to our educational institutions, including primary, secondary, higher secondary, and tertiary levels. Honorable Education Minister was asking me that how long it will take to connect all of her educational institutions. I'm really glad and happy to share with you that within 6 months, within next 6 months, all of our 109,000 educational institutions will be connected with high-speed internet connectivity. And second is the digital devices. So you all know that we have 50 million students who are studying in primary, secondary, higher secondary, and tertiary levels. It's very difficult to provide each and everyone a personal device. But you all know that currently in Bangladesh, 15 mobile phone local and international companies are assembling feature phone, even flagship modern smartphones. And also our local company Walton, they have started assembling laptops in Bangladesh. We have decided to establish computer labs each and every educational institutions. We have already established 13,000 Sheikh Russell digital computer labs where we have 17 laptops and also 1 smart digital interactive boards. And also we have established 300 School of Future where we have established robotics fabrication lab. We have provided AR, VR, and many other frontier technologies so that our future generation can do some research and also they have hands-on experience on frontier technologies. We have a plan to establish another 10,000 Sheikh Russell digital computer labs in next 2 years. And by 2031, we have a target to establish 35,000 Sheikh Russell digital computer labs. And we are having partnership with Japanese Kumon education method in partnership with BRAC. We are starting our pilot project in different divisions in this year. We have a target to introduce this after-school Kumon Japanese method in 300 School of Future by 2025 and in 35,000 schools by 2031, so that our future generations should have basic English communication skills. At the same time, they should have basic mathematical skills so that they will have the analytical skills, which is very much important in the age of 4IR. And lastly, third one is digital interactive contents. We have already digitized 21 books following national curriculum in primary level. Now we are developing our contents for secondary and higher secondary levels in partnership with Ministry of Education and also our National Curriculum Board. And I think with these 3 components, reliable connectivity for all of our students and teachers, affordable digital devices, at least single access common point for every teachers and students, and providing digital interactive contents, we can achieve immediate result from our educational institutions to achieve our blended education targets. To achieve our ultimate targets and goals, we would like to work with our private sector leaders, at the same time, our civil society. To do that, under Enhancing Digital Government and Economy project, 10 research and innovation centers, RICs, are being established with the aim of addressing real-life problems faced by citizens, government, and industries. These RICs will serve as platforms for conducting various research and innovation R&I initiatives. I'm also very happy to announce that we are going to set up Center for 4IR in partnership with World Bank under ICT division. Hopefully by this year, we'll be able to establish Center for 4IR in our country. And we have agreed, both of the parties, that we are going to set up Center for 4IR in partnership with World Economic Forum in Bangladesh. So in my conclusion, I would like to mention two of my favorite quotations. First one from Honorable ICT Advisor. He said that find new technologies, find your own innovations, don't imitate, innovate. So everywhere, from the government service delivery platform to the education system, we would like to innovate according to our local needs and requirements. And we hope that in this process, our private sector, non-government organizations, also international platforms and forums like World Economic Forum will be our partner for achieving Smart Bangladesh vision. And in conclusion, I would like to mention Honorable Prime Minister's quote. I quote, "If you want to go fast and far, innovate together. Let's work together, innovate together to make the world a better place. Be innovative and smart. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu."
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insightful remarks. And ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite our today's special guest, Dr. Deepumoni MP, Honorable Minister, Ministry of Education. May I humbly request our chief guest to come up on the stage to share her remarks, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Education Minister, Dr. Deepumoni MP.
Everybody must be really, really tired. Maybe I'll take 10, 15, 12, 13 minutes. Good evening. Honorable ICT State Minister, Honorable Education Deputy Minister, respected co-chairs, respected secretaries, director generals, and other senior officials from different ministries, esteemed representatives of development partners, NGOs, startups, delegations from World Economic Forum, eminent journalists and media personalities, and distinguished guests. We are indeed going through a transformational time in our education, both in Bangladesh and the world. It's an absolute honor and extremely inspiring to see all of us come together for this international consultation on accelerating blended education for a smart Bangladesh. This convening would have not been possible without the organizing energy of my colleagues at the Ministry of Education, the World Economic Forum, A2I, and without your commitment to show up. Thank you to all of you from the different ministries, the national and international development partners, industries, companies, and civil society who are here today. While these are the final remarks of the evening, I hope this is just the beginning of our collective work through the Smart Education Accelerator. It has been acknowledged by the room that not all our traditional ways of working in education are sufficient to solve the equation for how our learners can learn and be prepared for the opportunities and challenges of the 21st century, and that it is high time that we must work collectively towards change. Making education blended is indeed a part of this equation, but what is of utmost importance in this journey is in our ability to work together and collectively make sense of our understanding of what it will take to accelerate blended education towards a smart Bangladesh by the year 2041. We must be able to trust each other that we are working towards an aligned vision of impact. Given the current context, how do we make the best use of the resources that are currently available to us, and how do we work towards investing more resources so that all our learners in Bangladesh, irrespective of their background and identity, receive quality educational experiences? This is not a question that we can answer in isolation. The pandemic, as unfortunate as it was, has given us an opportunity to reflect on the state of our education system, and we have indeed taken steps that I believe will help us towards the future we envision. Our national curriculum has been reformed. It's actually transformed, I must say. We are focusing now on moving away from rote memorization towards experiential learning, problem-based learning, joyful learning, and greater interdisciplinarity. We are focusing on moving away from textbooks driving what teacher guides look like to teacher guides shaping the content of textbooks and guiding how and when the text should be used so that lessons are not just textbook driven. We are focusing on moving away from just assessments of learning to assessments for learning. We are focusing on moving away from teachers being just the sage on the stage to being a guide on the side to teachers being facilitators. We are focusing on moving away from our teacher professional development interventions in just being physical to being blended, as in the first time in our history, as mentioned, 1 million of our teachers are also having to take courses online as well. We're working towards infrastructural interventions that need to be taken to ensure that all our learners and educators are able to use a healthy blend of high-tech, low-tech, and no-tech modalities for their learning and teaching. We are working towards skills development solutions and matchmaking between employees and employers so that our graduates can also learn to earn. The planning towards a blended education master plan is just a step in this direction. However, there is much more work to be done. Planning is one thing, but implementation and execution is another. The acceleration of this execution is key if we want our learners to capitalize on the opportunities and navigate the challenges ahead, if we want our system to leapfrog into the future. The work of the Smart Education Accelerator is an opportunity for all of us to play a role in this much-needed acceleration. We must come together to continuously analyze our current situation and identify priority areas that we can work to get on. We have been discussing some of these priority areas, and I pose them as questions for the room. A lot of questions. What teaching, learning activities, educational content, and resources will ensure that students are learning and receiving quality educational experiences? What is the most effective model for training our teachers? What will be the best way to scale assessment for learning so that learning is personalized, teaching is differentiated, assessment is authentic, and we can get a better understanding of the state of our classrooms? What strategies must we take to ensure our infrastructure for the blended education ecosystem is affordable and accessible for all our learners and educators? How do we make sure that the skills our graduates are developing are both contributing to our development goals as well as our economic goals? The Smart Education Accelerator is here for us to connect, innovate, and scale. We can come together and propose innovative solutions, but we must figure out solutions for scaling innovation as well. How do we scale these innovations and secure the financing required for it? how can we ensure that the conversations we have are not just within the limits of this room, but in every district, community, and institution. Again, I would like to reiterate that our movement for collective conversation and action has just begun, and we each can have a hand in the success of the Smart Education Accelerator. And in the success of the collective revolution of all of us in transforming education in Bangladesh. Our Smart Education Accelerator is also part of a broader network of accelerators due to the network of the World Economic Forum, and we look forward to this global exchange as well. Us learning from the world, and the world learning from the examples we set. Our work, if successful, will not only transform education in Bangladesh, it will transform Bangladesh itself, and by extension, the world. I was just discussing with my friends here. When we talk about our traditional system, actually we mean when our state minister for ICT, he was talking about traditional education system, we actually mean educational system that we inherited or we were given by our colonizers. Education system of last 2+ centuries. But our age-old, really traditional education system is actually what was most suited for that time and what is still, I think, most suited for today and our future that we are looking forward to. Because that was personalized, that was lifelong, that looked at education holistically, that prepared learners for their whole life, gave them all life skills. So I think it's high time that we actually look inside us, look at our societies, and we feel that we again gain that strength or dig out that strength that we had and move forward with that strength. And I think that inner strength that we had for millennia, that is where answers lie. And so in 2041, I hope to meet you all in a smart Bangladesh and a smarter world. Thank you all for your attention. Joy Bangla, Joy Bangabandhu, may Bangladesh live forever. And my deepest respects to our father of the nation and all the martyrs. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your insightful words. And to be very honest, you have not only given us guidance for this consultation workshop, I would like to invite, oh, he's here. Yes. So it's time to shift over my head to Mr. Dewan to carry on the process. And from my side, thank you to everyone.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Excellencies, good evening to all of you. All the speakers have emphasis on three things. The first one is Asif Saleh, emphasizes three things, and Rubana Haq also emphasizes on three things, and our Honorable State Minister also emphasizes on three things like connectivity, device, and interactive contents. We have three distinguished ministers, full ministers, Dr. Dipumani, my MP also, Dipumani, and Honorable State Ministers for ICT, Junaid Ahmed Polak, and Honorable Deputy Minister for Education, Janab Muhibul Hassan Chowdhury. So 3 is a magical number. So what's that? You'll find that all 3 guests have 3 different qualities. The first one is they are creative, they are good public speaker, and they are smart. So these are the similarities. And there are 3 very magical numbers you'll find. The first one is the harmony, wisdom, and understanding. And also a number of past, present, and futures. And you'll find it beginning, middle, and end. You'll find it in the birth, life, and death. And finally, we have national helpline 333. So it's for all. And no more talks today. Thank you all of you for kind patient sharing and giving us so emphasis on the issues. And I congratulate all of you, especially our today's guests, participants, organizers. Special thanks to the chief guest, special guest, representative from the World Economic Forum, and the high officials. Together we can move a better transformation education system, that is smart education system in smart Bangladesh. Joy Bangla, but this is not the end. 2 more requests. Sir, for future evidence-based decisions, we need 2 photos. Therefore, sir, 4 co-chair I requested to come to the stage for have a photograph. 5, sorry.
Sir,
Sir,
please.
Please. Thank you, sir. The next photograph would be combining of co-chairs, special guest, chief guest, and other partners.